Last video before I call it a night. This has been an extremely long day. I only recently got back from speaking with the various people, part of my team actually. We think we're going with the name Political Misfits. So shout out to the patron who gave me that name, Maggie. There's a last name to it. I think it's Smith. Shout out to her. I think we're going to use, or at the very least, we're going to pitch that name, Political Misfits. So shout out. Thank you very much. The first show, or I'm going in tomorrow, but the first show is not going to be tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of production stuff that we're going to have to get situated before the first show starts. Before I turn in tonight, though, Bernie Sanders is trying to get back on message. I feel like I've been doing a lot of Sanders videos recently, and I think it's because as he's moved up in the polling, the attacks, for the most part, have been coming from all quarters, even from people he considered his friend, Warren stabbing him in the back, and, of course, people who aren't his friends, effectively media, who's been going after him on any nonsense that gets essentially cropped up. In this very specific instance, though, Joe Biden has been lying about his record, be it on the Iraq War or, for the most part, on his history with Social Security. The notion that this gets even debated as if, hey, Sanders says Joe Biden's record is X. Well, it's not really that Sanders says it. Yes, Sanders says it, but there's a reality to it. There are videotapes where you can go look. There are a litany of them. For the last 40 years, he's been advocating for either cutting Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and he used to be proud of that. Now he wants to run from it. Fair enough. You run, they're going to chase you your whole life. So let the chase start. Many of the media, some of the media at the very least, has started to engage this notion in this particular conversation about Joe Biden and Social Security. The catch here is that when Clinton comes out and attacks Sanders, for the most part, if anything, it just rips away attention from that. And for whatever reason, they lavish it on this failure. Nevertheless, Sanders is trying to fight to get back on message 2 weeks before Iowa. And he's very specific in his message. Joe Biden tried to cut Social Security. He could run all he wants. He tried to cut Social Security. The record is clear. This campaign video that he put out is stinging. It's short. Stinging. And I got to be honest, since my advice was for him to hit him in his mass, meaning the elderly vote, this notion of electability, and the African-American vote, the fact that he's picked one of these and have gone after him whole hog, nothing but approval. Don't stop there. What, Glass-Steagall, these wars? I mean, you've hit him for the Iraq War vote all the time. His history with the African-American community, the real history with the African-American community, I mean, the busing and everything else, that ad that Nina Turner wrote, or that article that Nina Turner wrote, is massively stinging, but inaccurate. If you notice, the one thing that seems to be constant in Sanders' campaign, they don't like to lie. Meaning, they're on message in the sense that they're not saying anything that's untrue. Everything that they've said in this is true. Joe Biden just doesn't want to own up to his record. I'm going to show you this ad. Let's keep it short. Welcome to the Soapbox. My name is Jamal Thomas. This is the Progressive Soapbox. Guys, if you dig this content, please like, share, subscribe. You can always support PayPal, Patreon. Sanders comes out with an ad hitting Biden. I wish he would have did this weeks ago. I know Sanders is more than happy to throw a punch at somebody like Donald Trump, but it seems like his attacks on Biden were always isolated to things like the Iraq War vote. And I was kind of making the case that the Iraq War vote wasn't the thing that's going to get you bang for your buck. Yes, what's taking place in regards to foreign policy is a big deal. No, it is not the entire focus of what the American public is looking at. Joe Biden has a litany of issues. Social Security is just one of them. My argument was, if you're going to hit him on anything, you need to hit him on something that will undermine one of his major bases of support. Elderly, electability, African Americans. In this one, he's choosing the elderly. Joe Biden, or let's say Bernie Sanders, rapid response, attack ad against Biden.
When I argued that we should freeze federal spending, I meant Social Security as well. I meant Medicare and Medicaid. I meant veterans benefits. I meant every single solitary thing in the government. And I not only tried it once, I tried it twice, I tried it a third time, and I tried it a fourth time.
Well, we've got some bad news for them. We are not going to cut Social Security. We're going to expand.
When I argued that we should freeze federal...
I love this ad. Short, sweet, to the point. It gives Biden in his own words, meaning making his own pitch. And by the way, it's not just this. The Trans-Pacific Partnership, NAFTA, yes, these wars, the crime bill, that disastrous, utterly disastrous crime bill and the repercussions that came along with that. There are a litany of things that you can hit Joe Biden on. But the catch here is you just need to find the very specific things to hit him on to undermine him in the very degrees of support that you yourself need. This is a great one. Social Security is massively popular. The idea that one of the candidates running in the Democratic Party was okay with cutting it for all intents and purposes. This is going to be an ad run against Republican, talking about cutting Social Security. And by the way, not just Social Security, a balanced budget amendment. That is one of the most right-wing ideas, lunatic ideas. The government is not a kitchen table. The government is not a kitchen table. The notion that you as a Democrat is pushing for a balanced budget amendment. Yes, these are ads that people used to run against Republicans. And these are ads that Sanders is now successfully, hopefully, running against Joe Biden. I don't know how much money he has behind this. I don't know how many ads he's running on this. I don't know if this is just on the web. If this is just on the web, that would be a mistake. The older generation is not necessarily on the web in that way. This ad is tailored for the older generation, meaning that the bang for the buck is if this ad is put out in media, mainstream media, not just internet. Nevertheless, great ad, and it makes his point succinctly. I'll leave it here. I just like the ad. There was another one that came out that was done by one of his fans, and Sanders' campaign pushed that one out also. Essentially, they're responding to their audience. He's responding to the audience. I'll leave it here. I'm not going to keep this long. I just thought it was an awesome ad. Sanders is doing his best to get back on message. And yeah, at the end of the day, all of this other stuff may get into play, but it's one of those things where you stumble, and I don't necessarily think he stumbled. I think he stumbled when he made that apology. But ultimately, getting back up, dusting yourself off, and start back jogging. Sanders is back on message. Like, share,